All right, Coach. Back at home inside the Stevens Arena Janelle Center, and pulled off two fantastic matches. Of course, a 3-set sweep of Eastern New Mexico, and then a 4-set, pretty solid game between you and number 14 WT, where you had two 20-kill performances from Demi Carter and Maddie Parrish on Saturday. So just talk to me about how the team performed overall and just the two victories.
Well, I think that Friday night, we won. We swept Eastern New Mexico. That's the match that we're supposed to sweep. And I didn't feel like we played great, especially at the net. I felt like they hit a much higher percentage than I felt like they should have, And so I challenged my team after the match, I'm like, listen, we've got to be way better. If you expect to win this match tomorrow against a really good team, we've got to be better at the net. We've got to create problems for this team. And we came out and did that, absolutely did that. I was really pleased with our level of effort, our level of execution. We played pretty steady the whole night long, and so it was an important match for us. I've talked to you guys before about seeing a path towards, getting to the top of our conference, and for the longest time, there's only 2 weeks left in conference. We've been on the outside looking in, and we're still on the outside, but now we're like peeking in the windows. Like we're there, we're looking for an unlocked door. There's no basements here in Texas, unfortunately, but where I grew up, there were basements and people leave those windows unlocked, so we're just looking for a way in. We have two important matches this week at Midwestern and Lubbock Christian. Lubbock Christian is still first in league right now, so we're just we're scratching and clawing and trying to find our way into that house.
As the regular season begins to wind down, just talk about this team's growth you've seen from August all the way until now.
Well, it's a little bit of one step forward, a couple steps backwards. We've lost we have 3 season-ending injuries. And 2 of them are starters, and so we're fortunate in that we have talent and we have depth. But an important piece of this puzzle is getting Demi Carter back. She was fantastic for us this weekend, and takes a lot of pressure off some of the other players because she can do a lot of things in her position. So you lose a couple, you get one back, but still we're fortunate that we have depth. We have some talented kids who've been patient, and still training their butts off to be ready for their opportunity, and so I'm excited that we're moving forward with what we've got, and kids that want to compete and play hard, and not that the injured kids didn't, they certainly did too, but when they can't play, they can't play, and so it's next player up, and we've embraced that, and we're just going out there and trying to win one. That's the goal. You've heard a lot of coaches say that. We're trying to win one match, and then if we do, we're trying to win one more. That's it. It's simple. It's coach speak. I get that, but there's nothing that's not true about it. We can't win 2 at a time. If you're thinking about the wrong one, you're going to lose the right one. So every match for us right now is the most important match of the season, and we've talked about that, and we understand that, and we came out ready to play this past weekend.
And despite all the injuries you mentioned, you've won 4 straight matches. So just what must have been to keep that momentum going into your final road game or road weekend of the series or season?
Status quo. We have to play hard. We have to execute. We have to understand what the other team's trying to do and try not to let them do it. At a high enough level. But the biggest thing about my team, this team, our team, is that if we handle our side of the net the way we want to, we're hard to beat. Not that we can't be beat, but if we're doing the things that we can control, then we're in pretty good shape. The matches that we've lost, we haven't done that. Texas Women's a couple weekends ago, they created problems for us, and we did not handle our side very well. So I think it's important that we understand what we're trying to do and go out and execute as high level as we can.
Especially after the loss to Texas Women's a couple weeks ago. What is the overall feeling in the locker room after you beat a rival like WT?
It's a match, and it feels good. There's no question about it. You want to beat those rivals, and they're definitely a rival. They're a rival in everything. If we're playing checkers, we want to beat them. They want to beat us. Their coach and I, we're pretty good friends. We've known each other a long time, and we understand that it's fun. It's a fun thing to play against someone who's competitive and wants to win and wants it just as bad as you do. So The feeling is good, but like I said, we have bigger goals. You know, that was a piece to the puzzle. That was something we had to have in order for us to still keep banging on the door for, you know, to get to the top of our conference. And so it was nice to get that, but the work's not done. You know, it was I would say a short kind of, I won't say celebration, because we didn't win anything. We won a match. You know, we're not celebrating just winning a match. We don't celebrate when we beat one other team. You know, we celebrate when we win championships. You know, so we'll save that until then. But we got to go do the things that it takes to get those.
Do the girls seem hungrier? I'm not going to say that they weren't ready the last time y'all went on the road and played. But like, do they seem hungrier going into these last couple matchups?
I think, as tough as it is to say, getting your butt kicked on the road, hopping off a bus and playing the way we played was a big eye-opener. We just can't show up. There are teams, we get everybody's best shot. I've said that all year long. We're always going to get everybody's best shot because we've been a high-quality program for a long time. You know, and so people want a piece of that. They want, you know, to beat the Logan. And you know, if we don't come out ready this weekend, we'll lose. So it's on us to manage our expectations and our emotions and be prepared mentally for that. So yeah, it was disappointing, but I think it opened our eyes to what we really need to do, because that next day we had a really important match. The next day we came out and found a way to win. You know, and got to do it again this weekend.
Coach, everybody, looking at the WT match, everybody's well aware of how good Maddie Parrish and Demi Carter are for your team. But somebody I want to give a little shout out to is, of course, your setter who had 31 assists, Gabby Ashcraft, in that matchup with WT. Just talk to me about her performance in that individual match and just her development over this season.
Yeah, Gabby is gaining confidence. You know, she's new to our program, trying to figure out what we want to do. You know, but I think she's starting to turn into a steadying influence on the court. You know, whereas when earlier in the season, maybe in the spring even, it was a question mark. She wasn't quite sure and comfortable and confident in what the expectations were. I think she's embraced it, you know, and I think she has done a nice job of giving our players the balls that they need. She has a really nice connection with Demi, you know, and she only has Maddie in one of those rotations, but she's working hard every day. She wants to do extra. She wants to be better. She wants to be on the court, you know, and her teammates support her too. So I love that for her, and you know, for her, she knows it's hard to be a setter for me. Like it's really challenging because my expectations are really high, and you know, we talk about setters like we talk about officials. You know, when you play a match and you don't notice the official, that means the official did a good job, right? When you play a match and you don't notice the setter, because when do you notice the setter? When they make a mistake, when they miss a set, when they don't take the ball, well, all the things, you know, like you want to be under the radar as a setter, you know, and she is getting better and better at just kind of reading my mind and understanding what situationally we should be doing, and you know, she's gaining confidence in that, and I love that.
And then we look at this weekend, of course, as already mentioned earlier, your last weekend away from home in terms of like this season, where you have Midwestern State and Lubbock Christian. Of course, we're well aware of Lubbock Christian, they're right above you. But what do you see from those two matchups, and what do you expect from them?
Well, being on the road, it's going to be tough no matter what. But when Western has beat some good teams this year, they're athletic, they're physical, they're aggressive. You know, they play a style that's, when they're on, it's really tough to beat them, especially at their place. You know, so we have to come out and really handle our side at the highest level we can. You know, and you know, Lubbock Christian is young, but man, they are super talented. They are not afraid of anybody or anything. You know, they're coming out, and again, they're at home. You know, so two great matches, two great teams. You know, we're going to have to play well to win those matches. So I'm excited about the opportunity for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.